You want to know what rattles? Can't even say this rattled, but this fell off. Fucking crazy. My 2009 ISF is about to hit 180,000 miles soon. I've been daily driving this thing for the past 6 months. So if you've been wondering what it's actually like to live with, maintain, and rely on a high mileage ISF every single day, today I'm pretty much going to be sharing my thoughts and experiences on that topic exactly. And if you've been thinking about buying one of these, you're probably going to like this video. So make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and let's get into this. It's getting pretty fucking scary now. I bought this because I wanted a reliable V8 sports car that I thought I knew inside and out. I couldn't justify spending the 35 to 40 grand on the lower mileage one, and I was also confident enough to get one with this mileage. I'm not gonna lie, I thought everything was gonna be sunshine and fucking rainbows like it was for the first one I bought, but here's actually what kind of went down since I posted those few first videos. First, we're gonna start with some rapid fire questions while we drive, and I'm probably gonna get a coffee, so let's go. First question is gonna be, does it start every morning? To be honest, yeah. There's only been one time that this car did not start, and it wasn't nothing crazy. It was just the battery, which is pretty common. I did hear that after about 3 years, when you buy a battery here, unless you get like an anti-gravity one or something that's like really, really top tier, it's probably gonna die on you after 3 years, like on the dot. That's what happened to me, and I looked at the date, that's pretty much what it was. Question number 2 is gonna be, do I trust this car? I'm gonna be honest, dude. I do, but I don't at the same time. Y'all can go. Because I've had this for so long now, and it's like, yo, I took a trip recently. I went to New Jersey for just a week. Just a week. And when I got back, for some reason, like, this car's been sus. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been driving a little bit weird. I got the TPMS light on, and it says check system, and I'm pretty sure that one of my sensors died, which is not a good thing because I have to take off every single wheel to find out which one it is, or just replace them all, because at the end of the day, they're original parts, so that's kind of what it is. Does the car feel old? That's another question I'm sure you guys would want to know. It's 2009. I'm at 177,977 miles right now, and it kind of does feel a little bit old. I'm not gonna lie to you. On the exterior, it is not old whatsoever. This looks just like a new car. When I tell people it's a 2009, people don't even believe me sometimes, to be real with you. But on the inside, yeah, cool. It's a little bit dated. Obviously the infotainment that's right here, I don't even use it. I didn't even realize I had a navigation system there until like a couple months after I even get in this car, because it really doesn't serve a purpose. There's no true Bluetooth where, you know, I can connect music and whatnot to listen to stuff. What it does have though is Bluetooth for the phone call. And that's a pain in the ass, bro, because if you have that plugged in or connected while you're just trying to get a regular phone call on your AirPods or your phone, it's gonna fuck you up every single time. It's gonna automatically connect once you get into like a close proximity of the car. I mean, at the end of the day, that's every car, but it's like, yo, if y'all was gonna do that, at least put some Bluetooth in there, right? Question number 3, does it rattle? Has things kind of broken or fallen apart? You wanna know what rattles? Can't even say this rattled, but this fell off. Fucking crazy. Pretty much the part right here in the door sill, that plastic piece that kind of covers it, it just completely fell off one day. I left to New Jersey for about a week. I parked this in the garage. I didn't leave it in the regular heat in Florida. I wouldn't have dared to do that because this car would have been burnt to a crisp. And as soon as I came in, that thing just literally fell off. I opened the door, it fell off. I got this light for the TPMS sensor. I'm telling you, it's just driving a little bit weird. I feel like it's pulling to one side, and before I left, everything was perfectly fine. We're gonna go over 3 more rapid fire questions, and then we're gonna get into the reliability, because again, I daily drive this. I'm a realtor, if you don't know. I drive a little over 3,000 miles a month, bro. I bought this car at like 158,000 miles, and I'm at almost 180. It's been 6 months. Just keep that in mind. So I have an idea of what I'm talking about here. I dead ass drive this every single day, and I don't have any other cars. Anyways, next question is gonna be, would I trust this on a road trip? I'm gonna be honest, right now, I would not trust this on a road trip. And let's be real, is this the fault of the car or my pockets? Because at the end of the day, if I had the bread right now, which I'll be very real with y'all, I don't, to literally do a full tune-up of this car, brand new tires, fluids, LSD, fluid change, transmission fluid change, maybe even do an engine compression test. After that, I would feel 100% confident taking on a road trip. But right now, the state that it's in, I probably wouldn't trust it, to be honest. So just keep that in mind. If you're gonna be looking on Facebook Marketplace or Auto Trader, buying this from a private party person, unless you know and have the receipts that, yo, they did that full tune-up XYZ, and that they're not just trying to sell it and dump it on you when the next round of maintenance is actually due, then that's a whole other story. And on top of that, you have to drive the car and really live with it for a little bit to build that trust. So as of right now, would I trust this for a road trip? Fuck no. Next question, is 180,000 miles too much? I do believe in some cases it could be too much, especially depending on the use case. Me personally, what I do, I would not buy this at 180,000 miles. I would have done it exactly the same way that I did. Maybe have waited for one that got a little bit less miles, just for the fact that I already knew, you know, when I bought this car, I'm keeping it for X amount of time. Teaser there, stay to the end of the video so I can talk to you guys about that. Just so it can retain its value, I can get a car that I actually love, flip it, and then move on to something else without bankrupting myself over a car. Like buying a new one and driving off the lot and then negative $50,000 right there, you're cooked, can't do shit about it. That's just not my mojo. It's never been. Can't do that. So that's pretty much where we are. Last question is going to be driving experience. Guys, I don't even really care to answer that because driving experience is just through the roof. All right. Like, you're not going to find a car at this price point that's like this, that is special in every single situation when it comes to driving. It doesn't matter where you're going or what you're doing. Like, this car is really him. This is himly, him, she, himothy. I love this thing. It is special, and the experience is like nothing else I've ever experienced before. I've driven a lot of cars, and for some reason I bought this one twice. That should tell you everything you need to know. Moving on, reliability as far as the daily drivability. I already kind of went over this earlier in the video, a couple minutes ago, a couple seconds ago. You know, it's reliable, but again, you know, you have to have some racks to throw at this car to make sure it stays that way. So if you're not going to be able to do that, especially driving crazy like I do oil change every single month. That's about $70-$80, even though I do it for myself because, you know, I got to get like 10 quarts of oil, full synthetic, and that could cost a little bit, but at the end of the day, that's kind of minuscule. Another thing is that the way that I drive, it's not even just the fact that I drive a lot. You know, I drive this car the way it's meant to be driven, so I burn through tires. And you can't just go, you know, to the next used tire shop and get used tires to put on this thing because you're going to be cooked. You need brand new tires. It's going to cost you maybe $2,000. You have to install them, get them mounted, balance, all that shit. And then depending on how you drive, that really depends on how long it's going to last you. So that's another thing for me. You know, yes, I was doing this more like on a budget play, more like a smart move. That was just my mindset going into buying this car. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, these things still add up regardless. So you could buy it for as cheap as you want. I paid $20,000 for this, but you're still going to be in maybe 5, 6, 7K after a couple years of ownership. Just putting money into this car to service it, like bare bones maintenance, not even miles, nothing like that. It's going to cost a little bit of money. Gas, that's another thing. I don't even want to get started on gas. I know I showed you guys in the last video. I'll pop it up here as well. I have an issue with my intake. It's not the car's problem, it's a money problem. It's the reality here. I get shitty ass gas mileage. It is not good whatsoever. I can probably fill this up on $50. I will get maybe 250 miles of range, and that's driving conservatively. That's not wilding out and, you know, doing a 0 to 60 pull every single day of the week. It's just not the case. But this is the reality that I live in. Just wanted to share with you guys. Now I'm going to go over a couple things that I do not like about this car. First thing being, man, the moment you cut off your cats or you mod this thing the way that everybody else does, you do smell them JDM fumes. I'm not going to lie to you. You're going to smell it. It's going to rub off on your clothes. I remember walking into an appointment one day after driving this, and I was rushing to that appointment because I thought I was going to be late, right? And hear me out. I walked in, and they told me I smelled like a gas station. They're like, yo, you smell like smoke. It smells like you locked yourself in a room with exhaust fumes going into it, and then you just put that jacket on and came to this appointment. And I was like, shit. Another thing that I don't really like about this car is that it is a little bit small. Not the most comfortable, even though I have these bucket seats. I've slept in this whip for days and days on end, and I made it work. Did I suffer? Yes, but it's just a little bit small. It's not the most comfortable thing. There's not a lot of places where you can put things. You have these little side door jams that you can, you know, keep stuff, which is cool. You have this little center console thing here, but besides that, there's not much space utilization. I'm not gonna say that entirely because the trunk is a decent size, but let's just say you want to add like a subwoofer or something like that to really get your music going. It's gonna be a little bit tight. That's actually another thing. The music, the speaker system, everything is OG, everything's original, and it's really not bad at all. So I know I'm kind of flip-flopping from what I don't like, from what I do like, but I'm just trying to really think of the things that, you know, I deal with this car day in and day out, and just, you know, relay that to you guys right now. So this is gonna be a last little segment because I want you guys to understand just me personally how this car affects me and why my opinion is what it is. I personally love this car and I love to daily drive it because whenever I'm lined up with any other car, it doesn't matter if it's a 2026, it doesn't matter if it's a GTR, a Porsche, GT3, 911, if that person likes Lexus, and they know cars, then they know about this car. You know what I mean? And it's always respect. So just on a networking standpoint, and for my business, I'm a realtor once again, it works and I love it. It's a big reason why I have it as well. And yeah, man, honestly, I got a little bit more attention than I expected before I even touched this platform at all, just because I didn't really realize that there's a specific niche of people that consider this to be like one of their dream cars for real. And I think that's super cool. Again, it's not the newest, latest, and greatest. It's an OG type of thing where if you know, you know. And I literally think that that reflects me and my personality and character and my life almost perfectly, you know? So I'm gonna end this video here. To be very honest, this car probably won't be sticking around for much longer. I'm planning on selling it later this year, probably by November, December time. So if you want to stick around to see what I get next and how much I actually get for this car, because I paid $20,000 and I'm planning on selling this at around 180K miles, subscribe, like the video, and follow the journey, man. We're gonna see what happens next. All right, take care.